Welcome to another episode of What is Hashimoto's with Dr. Martin Rutherford. To find out more on any of our topics, or for information on scheduling a consultation with Dr. Rutherford, please visit us at whatishashimotos.com. And now, here's Dr. Rutherford.
Hey, Dr. Rutherford here today. So I'm going to start hitting some of the common things that people see online relative to thyroid. Today we're going to be talking about goitrogens. We're probably going to be talking about, in the future, we're probably going to be talking about blood pressure, but some seemingly innocuous things like mercury, like alcohol, like sleep, like cigarette smoking, some of the things like but I think it might be good to go into them for the reasons that you'll find out if you stay around and watch what we're going to present to you. But today we're going to do goitrogens. And the reason we're going to do that is not unlike iodine, which we've already done. For those of you who are the iodine thyroid people, just know, not for Hashimoto's, you can watch that presentation. We had a couple of them online on powerhealthtalk.com, and with the supporting references and all that. So, but goitrogens kind of fall in the same category. Goitrogens are vegetables, and there is a ton of them, and I'm not going to go over all of them. There's kohlrabi, there's spinach, there's broccoli, there's collard greens, cauliflower, all the things that are good for you, okay? Were discovered back in 1928 to stop iodine, which is one of the reasons I thought of doing this, because we just did the iodine. And it stops iodine from going into the thyroid. Now, here's how your thyroid hormone is made. First the brain tells the thyroid there's not enough thyroid hormone in the system, and then that puts out something called thyroid stimulating hormone. So that hormone from the pituitary gland stimulates the thyroid to make hormone, and it stimulates this thyroid peroxidase enzyme that all of you have measured to see if you have Hashimoto's. And that enzyme then, and there's other things with hydrogen peroxide and stuff, but I'm going to keep this really simple, okay? So then that enzyme helps to suck iodine out of your bloodstream and attach it to one molecule of something called tyrosine. And tyrosine is T, and then it's T4. Well, the 4 are 4 atoms of iodine. Okay, so T4 is one protein called, amino acid called tyrosine, and then these are all iodine. So goitrogens were discovered in 1928 to block iodine from coming in, and thus it would cause you to make less T4, and then it would cause your TSH to go up, and then you'd be hypothyroid, okay? Hypothyroid because you don't have enough iodine coming in to make the thyroid hormone. So that was kind of the holy grail of alternative medicine for years. I did a lot of George Goodhart's work with muscle testing and supplementation back in the early 80s, like 1980, 1985, 1986. And that was it. You know, it was like you tested the person's thyroid, their arm went down, you gave them tyrosine and iodine. You know what? Most of the time it worked. So this is the salient point on that. We've changed since then. Hashimoto's was not some sort of an epidemic, which is what it is right now. I was reading about it the other day, and it's crazy. It's being estimated that possibly a third of the country has Hashimoto's. It's been established that 10 to 15% have it for sure, but there's something called silent Hashimoto's, and they did a study where they just tested a bunch of people who didn't have any thyroid symptoms. They just tested them to see, and like 35% of them had antibodies to their thyroid that just wasn't expressing themselves yet. So things have changed. We now have developed lifestyle changes and just a number of things that have caused this explosion of autoimmunity in general, of which Hashimoto's is by far the most prevalent autoimmune condition out there today. So the goitrogen thing doesn't work anymore. And here's why. Goitrogens are bad for hypothyroidism. We just discussed that. Good for Hashimoto's because the goitrogens, by blocking that iodine, are stopping that enzyme that we talked about a moment ago. I said this is the thyroid peroxidase enzyme. It takes this and puts these together, but it also is the enzyme that they measure, okay, that develops antibodies to it. So you test for antibodies to the TPO enzyme. That's 1 or 2 tests. Anti-thyroid globulin test and TPO test. Those are the 2 tests you run to see if somebody's got Hashimoto. So basically, if you have other triggers that are firing up inflammatory responses, that causes an increase in the enzyme taking iodine out of your bloodstream, and that's when you start getting shaky, you get heart palpitations, anxiety, insomnia, maybe night sweats. So there's a percentage of you that you'll lose weight and you can't put it back on. This is aided by eating goitrogens, by eating, and I mean the goitrogens are like, I don't have them all memorized, okay, it's not my thing, but there's tons of them, okay, but the main ones you would know would be like kohlrabi, mustard green, spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, cabbage, cauliflower. I mean, you can look them up online, just like I just did. And these are good for you. As a Hashimoto's patient, these are good for you. And there's a big confusion. A lot of these topics come up when I start seeing these trends in the patients that are coming in the door. And all of a sudden, I'm getting people who are on who are off goitrogens. And as my mentor would say, well, that's so 60s, okay, not like in 1960s. and maybe he would know better than I would, because he's the one who pretty much discovered that Hashimoto's was really a big problem years ago. But it's definitely a different world right now. It's the Hashimoto's changes everything, where iodine is good for hypothyroidism, not good for Hashimoto's. Goitrogens are good for hypothyroidism, not good for Hashimoto's. I can't even remember last time I saw somebody hypothyroid. I mean, they don't come in here, hypothyroid people. Go to the doctor. The small percentage of them that are there, I think it's estimated that now 90-95% of hypothyroidism is actually Hashimoto's. They take their medication, their TSH gets normal, life is good for them, they go off and enjoy life. The rest of us all struggle because we have Hashimoto's. There's 39 different triggers, so the medication isn't working right, and so that group, including me, good. Goitrogens, good. Okay, so I hope that clears that up. And listen to me, okay? Don't. If you read the articles like I just read before I came on here, just to kind of check out why everybody's coming in here on goitrogens, don't listen to them. They're talking about hypothyroid. Nobody has hypothyroid anymore. Okay, don't listen to them. Listen to me. Okay, goitrogens, good for Hashimoto's. Iodine, bad for Hashimoto's. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope that clears that up for you. All right, bye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of What is Hashimoto's? To find out more on any of our topics, or for information on scheduling a consultation with Dr. Rutherford, please visit us at whatishashimotos.com.